If the UK economy crashed tomorrow, millions could lose their jobs overnight. And for some cities, the collapse would be so fast, it would feel like the ground just vanished beneath them. Here's the shocking truth. In past recessions, certain towns lost up to 1 in 5 jobs in less than a year. Businesses boarded up, house prices plunged, and once busy high streets turned into ghost towns. And according to economists, history has a nasty habit of repeating itself. But it's not just the struggling towns at risk. Some cities that look wealthy and stable right now are hiding ticking time bombs. Economies so dependent on a single industry or employer that if it falls, the whole city goes with it. Today we're counting down 10 UK cities that could be the first to crumble in a major economic meltdown. Some of these names will seem obvious, but others will shock you. And wait until you hear which city is sitting at number 1. It's probably not the one you think. So, is your hometown safe? Or could it be on the edge of economic collapse? Let's find out. Number 10. Peterborough. Peterborough is one of the UK's fastest-growing cities. But growth isn't always a good thing when the economy takes a nosedive. In recent years, its population has surged, yet the city's job market hasn't kept pace. That means more people competing for limited opportunities, and in a crash, that gap can turn into a crisis almost overnight. A big part of Peterborough's economy leans heavily on warehousing, logistics, and manufacturing. These industries thrive when consumer spending is high, when online orders are booming and goods are moving. But in a recession, orders slow, warehouses cut staff, and factories scale back production. We've seen this pattern before. During the 2008 financial crash, the East of England's manufacturing output shrank by double digits, and Peterborough felt the squeeze hard. The city has tried to diversify its economy, but progress is slow. Many of the newer jobs are still linked, directly or indirectly, to the same sectors at risk in a downturn. Add in rising living costs and a housing market that's overheated compared to local wages, and you've got the ingredients for a fast, painful economic slump. For Peterborough, the danger isn't just job loss, it's the ripple effect. When wages vanish, high streets suffer, small businesses close, and property values can plummet in a matter of months. If the UK economy hits the brakes, Peterborough could find itself struggling to keep its momentum. And for a city that's been running fast, that sudden stop could be brutal. Number 9. Newport. Newport in South Wales has a proud industrial history, but in an economic crash, its strengths could also be its greatest weaknesses. Much of Newport's economy is tied to manufacturing, public sector jobs, and logistics. While these sectors can be stable in good times, they're also incredibly vulnerable when government budgets tighten and global trade slows. During the last major recession, Newport saw unemployment rise sharply as factories reduced shifts and some closed entirely. Public sector cuts hit hard too, with fewer local government contracts and reduced funding for community services. In a downturn, these same fault lines could open up again, only faster. Another challenge is that Newport's job market isn't as diverse as larger UK cities. Fewer high-tech or creative industries means fewer alternative options for workers if a major employer goes under. Combine that with a cost-of-living squeeze already hitting households, and even a mild recession could leave many families struggling to make ends meet. And let's not forget the psychological effect of job insecurity. When people fear losing their income, they spend less, which in turn hurts small businesses, cafes, and local shops. It's a chain reaction that can transform a bustling high street into a strip of empty windows in just months. So, Newport finds itself in a dangerous balancing act. Resilient in some ways, but dangerously exposed in others. If the UK economy takes a hit, the fallout here could be swift and severe. What do you think? Could Newport weather the storm, or is it headed for trouble in a crash? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the cities on this list. Number 8. Wigan. Wigan's story is one of resilience, but also of fragility that hides in plain sight. On the surface, it's a hard-working northern town with strong community roots, but underneath, its economy leans on a few pillars that could wobble badly in a downturn. The backbone here is logistics, warehousing, and what remains of traditional manufacturing. In a healthy economy, these sectors hum along smoothly. Goods move, orders get filled, and people stay employed. But take away consumer demand, and the slowdown hits instantly. Lorries stop rolling as often, warehouses stand half empty, and over time, shifts disappear. Then there's retail. Wigan has already felt the bite of high street decline, with long-standing shops closing as online competition grows. A recession could accelerate that trend, leaving more empty storefronts and fewer places for locals to work. Unlike some larger cities, Wigan doesn't have a broad mix of industries to fall back on. The kind of economic diversity that cushions a place in hard times just isn't here yet. When one sector takes a hit, the shock spreads faster, affecting not just jobs, but housing demand, local services, and even public morale. For a town that has weathered industrial decline before, another deep recession would be less about surviving the first blow, and more about enduring the slow grind that follows. In Wigan, it's that drawn-out struggle that could prove the real test. Number 7. Plymouth. Plymouth is a city that lives by the sea, and in many ways depends on it. Its economy is anchored by the naval base at Devonport, one of the largest in Western Europe, along with tourism that draws visitors to its waterfront, history, and nearby coastlines. But when the economy falters, those two strengths can quickly turn into vulnerabilities. Public sector reliance means that if government defense budgets are trimmed, the shock can ripple through the city. Fewer contracts, reduced maintenance work, and job cuts in supporting industries can leave thousands of families feeling the pinch. Tourism, meanwhile, is notoriously sensitive to economic mood swings. When household budgets tighten, holidays are often the first luxury to go. Hotels see fewer bookings, restaurants lose customers, and tour operators struggle to keep staff on the payroll. The challenge for Plymouth is that these industries dominate its economic landscape. While there's been some effort to grow sectors like marine science and education, they're still relatively small compared to the city's traditional employers. In a downturn, that imbalance leaves Plymouth exposed, and geography plays its part too. Being at the southwestern tip of England gives Plymouth character, but it also limits connectivity to other major UK economic hubs. Recovery from a crash could be slower simply because opportunities and investments tend to concentrate elsewhere first. Plymouth's identity is tied to its proud maritime heritage, but in the harsh waters of a national economic crisis, the very tide it depends on could start pulling it under. Number 6. Bradford. Bradford is a city of contrasts, a young, energetic population paired with deep-rooted economic challenges. It's one of the youngest cities in the UK, which should be an advantage. More working-age people, more potential for growth. But when the economy turns, that same energy can be hit with a wave of unemployment that's hard to absorb. Historically, Bradford's economy has struggled to match the investment and job creation seen in nearby cities like Leeds. While there's been progress in sectors such as manufacturing, healthcare, and education, much of the local job market still sits in lower-wage roles that offer less security during a downturn. In the 2008 recession, Bradford's unemployment rate spiked sharply, and recovery was slow. The city's high dependence on public sector jobs meant that government spending cuts bit deep, affecting not just workers, but also the local businesses that relied on their custom. Another challenge is the gap between potential and opportunity. Bradford has a large entrepreneurial community and strong cultural industries, but without significant infrastructure investment, many ideas and businesses struggle to scale up. When the economy is strong, that's a hurdle. In a recession, it becomes a barrier. Add in rising housing and living costs, and the risk becomes clear. In a national economic crash, Bradford's young workforce could be among the hardest hit, creating long-term challenges for the city's recovery. Bradford's future depends on how quickly it can diversify and attract industries that can weather storms, because when the next big one comes, it will test the city's resilience like never before. Number 5. Stoke-on-Trent. Stoke-on-Trent, famously known as the Potteries, built its reputation on ceramics and manufacturing. For centuries, its craftsmanship was world-class, and even today, the industry remains a point of pride. But in a modern economy that's increasingly service-driven, heavy reliance on manufacturing can be a risky bet, especially in a financial crash. The city has worked hard to attract new employers, yet many of its jobs still sit in sectors that are highly sensitive to dips in consumer spending. Ceramics, advanced manufacturing, and distribution thrive when demand is steady. When it's not, production lines slow, exports drop, and factories cut shifts. During the 2008 recession, Stoke's manufacturing sector contracted sharply, and unemployment spiked. What made things worse was the slow pace of recovery. With limited alternative industries to absorb displaced workers, joblessness lingered far longer than in other UK cities. The city's property market also faces unique pressure. Stoke has some of the most affordable housing in the country, which sounds like a strength. But in a downturn, low-value markets often suffer sharper percentage drops, wiping out equity for many homeowners. There's no doubt that Stoke-on-Trent has resilience baked into its culture. Its communities have adapted before, finding ways to reinvent themselves after industrial decline. But the danger now is the scale of disruption a severe crash could bring, and the speed at which it could hit sectors the city still depends on. If a major recession lands, Stoke's challenge won't just be surviving the first blow, it will be finding the next big opportunity before the damage becomes permanent. Number 4. Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough wears its industrial past proudly. Once a steel-making powerhouse, it helped build the modern UK. Bridges, ships, and skylines around the world bear its mark. But in today's economy, that legacy is a double-edged sword. The heavy industries that shape the town are shadows of their former selves, and the modern job market still hasn't fully replaced them. Much of Middlesbrough's economy now leans on public sector roles, retail, and light manufacturing. These sectors can keep a community steady in normal times, but in a downturn, they can unravel quickly. Public spending cuts reduce local government and health service jobs, while consumer caution hits shops and service providers hard. The 2008 crash hit Middlesbrough with brutal force. Unemployment rates soared well above the national average, and recovery was sluggish. Many of the new jobs that did appear were in low-pay, low-security roles, offering little stability in the face of another recession. Housing is another pressure point. Prices in Middlesbrough are lower than in much of the UK, which can attract first-time buyers. But in a crash, low-value property markets can see some of the steepest percentage drops. That can trap homeowners in negative equity, making economic recovery even harder. For Middlesbrough, the real risk lies in its narrow economic base. Without stronger investment in diverse industries, from tech to green energy, the town could find itself reliving the worst chapters of its recent history if the national economy takes a hit. The pride of Middlesbrough is undeniable, but pride alone won't shield it from the shockwaves of a major crash. Number 3. Hull, Kingston upon Hull. Hull is a city that has faced more than its share of economic storms, and not just the kind that come in off the Humber. Once a major player in shipping, fishing, and manufacturing, its fortunes have shifted over the decades, leaving behind an economy that still feels the weight of that transition. Today, Hull's biggest employers include logistics, manufacturing, and renewable energy projects. The green energy sector, especially offshore wind, has brought new hope and investment. But the truth is, much of the city's stability still depends on the flow of goods through its port and the health of industries tied to global trade. If the UK economy crashes, the warning signs for Hull are clear. In a downturn, shipping volumes drop, manufacturing slows, and large infrastructure investments get delayed or cancelled. Jobs tied to the port, directly or indirectly, can vanish quickly, sending shockwaves through the local economy. The city also has one of the highest rates of deprivation in the UK, meaning many households have little financial cushion. In hard times, that can magnify the impact of even small economic shocks, turning a slowdown into a full-blown crisis. Housing in Hull is relatively affordable, which might soften some blows. But as seen in past recessions, affordability doesn't guarantee immunity. Property values can still slide, leaving the local market struggling to recover. Hull has shown resilience before, reinventing itself more than once, But in the event of a major financial crash, the city could find itself battling old challenges with new urgency and little time to prepare. Number 2. Sunderland. Sunderland's economic heartbeat can be summed up in one word: manufacturing. More specifically, cars. The Nissan plant is one of the largest employers in the region, directly and indirectly supporting thousands of jobs across supply chains, logistics, and local businesses. When production is strong, the whole city benefits. But that level of dependency is a serious gamble in an economic downturn. If the UK economy crashes, demand for new cars could plummet. It's one of the first big-ticket purchases consumers cut back on when money gets tight. Even a temporary slowdown in orders could mean reduced shifts, layoffs, or production halts. And in Sunderland, that would be felt citywide. It's not just manufacturing at risk. Many small businesses, from cafes to local suppliers, rely on the steady income of factory workers. When those wages disappear, spending in the community drops fast. The city has tried to diversify into software, customer service, and education, but these sectors are still too small to replace the stability manufacturing brings. That imbalance means Sunderland's economic health is tied almost uncomfortably to the global automotive market. History offers a warning. In the 2008 crash, Sunderland's jobless rate jumped sharply, and recovery was slower than the national average. The combination of global trade disruption, reduced consumer confidence, and manufacturing cutbacks could create the same conditions again, perhaps worse. Sunderland's strength has always been its ability to rally around industry. But when your main pillar shakes, the whole structure feels it. And in a severe recession, Sunderland's pillar could be hit harder than most. Number 1. Blackpool. Blackpool is one of the UK's most famous seaside towns, but behind the bright lights of the promenade and the thrill of the tower lies an economy that is dangerously exposed to financial shocks. Tourism is the lifeblood here. Millions visit each year for its beaches, entertainment, and nightlife. But in a recession, holidays are one of the first luxuries people cut. Fewer visitors mean hotels with empty rooms, restaurants with vacant tables, and attractions struggling to cover costs. When the tourist pound dries up, the entire local economy feels it almost instantly. Blackpool also has one of the highest rates of deprivation in England. Many households already live week to week with limited savings. In a crash, job losses in hospitality and retail could hit hard and fast, leaving families without income and local services under immense strain. Adding to the problem is a lack of industry diversity. Unlike larger cities, Blackpool doesn't have a strong manufacturing base, a major finance sector, or a tech hub to fall back on. Most jobs are in sectors that suffer early and recover late in economic downturns. The property market here offers little buffer. Low house prices may attract buyers in good times, but in a crash, they can plummet further, making it even harder for residents to build financial stability. Blackpool has weathered tough times before, but its dependence on tourism and its already fragile economy put it at the very top of this list. In a severe UK crash, Blackpool could be the first to feel the full weight of the storm. So, there's the list. But what about you? Which city do you think is most at risk, or did we miss one that should be here? Drop your thoughts below. We read every single comment. If you enjoyed this, check out our previous video for even more eye-opening insights. We pour hours of research and effort into bringing you these stories, so if you value what we do, hit that subscribe button. It's just one click, but it means the world to us.